Okay, so here's what I was thinking when you were mentioning this. I thought there's one specific thing the Giants can do, and that is sooner than later bring up Kyle Harrison, because his starts they might not become Lincecum, happy Lincecum Day starts,
Right.
but it's something, right? To where you kind of go like if the Giants announced today that Kyle Harrison is going to make his major league debut in San Francisco, let's say Saturday, I'd be like, what am I doing Saturday?
There
Can I
you go.
actually get out to the park on Saturday, see this kid's first start? I would
Are you
absolutely
hearing this? Are you hearing this, Larry Bear?
exactly. I would absolutely try and go to see that because I want to see him. But there's a second person here. I looked at Mauricio Dubon. Not going to happen. Not Mauricio Dubon.
Yeah.
Marco Luciano.
Okay.
For some reason I always get these guys mixed up. Their names, not the player, but the names. I
Yeah.
get mixed
Totally different players.
Luciano, he's got the back thing, and he's in Richmond. He's hitting like a $114 right now with a couple jacks.
Yeah.
So he's taking some time, and really, he's going to play the left side of the infield. He's probably going to end up either a third baseman or an outfielder. There's no real spot for him just to plug him in, even if he just knocks the cover off the ball in Richmond. He's probably going to play Richmond. He'll get moved up to AAA, and next year will be the year where they kind of find a spot for him. So then I was like, okay, who else is in AAA right now? I think you do this at the same time. So maybe it's not this week. Maybe it's this time in June or this time in July. You go, you know what? Somebody gets hurt. Maybe it has to be Sable in order for this to happen. But we're bringing up Bailey and Harrison on the same day, and they're the battery that day. Rookie catcher, rookie pitcher. They know each other. Bailey's kind of the guy who's helping Harrison and vice versa, right? Bailey's not knocking the cover off of the baseball right now, but what you can do is, if you really believe in Joe Bart, you have Joe Bart play against left-handed pitching. You have Patrick Bailey play against right-handed pitching, and you have your catcher position of young players. And in a sense, they're kind of competing against each other. From what Joe Bart said, he and Bailey, they root for each other. They're in, I think, were they in successive drafts, or were they in like two drafts apart? I think they're two drafts apart.
I think they were two drafts apart. Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting. You have Bart, you have Bailey, you have Harrison, you have Schmidt. Those are four guys who are all from the last 5 drafts or so. And you kind of have to bridge this year with the younger players, because will the Giants make a run for the wild card? We hope. It's possible, but that's going to be on the shoulders of Conforto and Haniger and JD Davis and your pitching staff, your starting staff just getting hot. It's going to be on their shoulders. But at the same time, if you can give these younger players who are going to have an opportunity to play for you in the big leagues, and we're not talking about a Ramos who it just doesn't seem like he's going to be that guy. We're not talking about a Bryce Johnson who could be a supplementary guy, but you're not expecting him to go out there and play center field for 150 games. These 4 players were drafted to be big time players for the future. Now, Joe Bart may never hit enough. Patrick Bailey may never hit enough, but you want to see. That's what would excite me to get out there, or to turn on that TV a little bit more when I'm like, wife and I are watching, season 9 of How I Met Your Mother. I'll catch up on the Giants game later. But that's what it's going to take, right? I want those opportunities to go, you know what? Kyle Harrison's pitching. I got to go out of my way to watch him. Patrick Bailey just came up, just like Schmidt. Got to go out of my way. I want to see his first AB, his second AB. That's what I think it's going to take. And I think if you bridge these 4 guys with your current team, which is a very veteran-heavy, free agent-heavy, guys who aren't going to be around for that long unless you sign them to extended deals, that would be a nice bridge for me to go, okay, now, we're paying attention to this season a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm 100% with you on that because I love Giants games. At this age, it's hard. We can't watch every single one. But if there, I mean, I find it a little more rare lately where I'm like, ooh, tonight is a must watch game. Like Casey Schmidt coming up. That was a must watch game. Then the home run. So the next night became a must watch game. Um, we need to string those together like we did a couple of years ago. It's like, hey, this team is rolling. These are must watch games. And that was my other one too. I was going to say, uh, I love Blake Sable, but I think if he's stuck as a DH and an outfielder, because the way he's been hitting, he's up to like 260.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
up to
think
like 255.
yeah, and he's got power. He's got 6 home runs. They don't wanna just jettison him and say like, "Okay, well, we'll send him back to what is it, Pittsburgh." Um, I don't think they wanna do that. So if they can keep him somehow as an outfielder and as a DH, and then bring up Patrick Bailey, then you could have that defensive catchers in Joey Bart and Patrick Bailey. Bailey is actually hitting 294 in May in AAA.
Oh,
So,
there you go.
but he is striking out
Yeah.
quite a bit. 34 at bats in May. He struck out 10 times. I mean, that's a pretty good clip of strikeouts. But still, if he can come up and command a game for the pitchers, I think that's more important than anything because now you've shored up the middle of the infield with Crawford and Schmidt, and then you get a good defensive catcher in Bailey. Then you just kind of have to worry a little bit more about center field. But at that point, you've injected that youth, you've injected that just kind of charisma and fun into the game. And I think, the veterans like Haniger and Conforto, they'll kind of latch onto that and say, okay, hey, we got a core here. It's time to pick things up. The young guys are doing stuff. So let's go.
I just
try
wish
to
they
get
had
that playoff spot.
I just wish they had a power bat that was like an outfielder because
Yeah.
then you could go, oh yeah, Conforto, he's going to be here for a year. He hits 25 jacks, then he's going to opt out and he's going to go somewhere else. You go, oh yeah, we have this young, you know, unfortunately it's not Hunter Bishop. Unfortunately, it's not Elio Ramos. A
Yeah.
lot of still have a lot of the guys who may become those guys in the lower level of the minor leagues. But yeah, I would like to see some advancement. I think that would keep me kind of interested because if you go back to what is it, 05, Kane comes up,
Right.
06, 07, Lincecum comes up, and then we get, in the late 2000s, Brandon Belt and Crawford, like those guys, they gave us a shot of energy because those were old teams too. Those were really
Oh
old
yeah.
teams, and you had this shot of youth that helped them get over the top. So that's what I want to see. I'm hoping that they could utilize these younger players to give this old, this old roster, it's kind of a journeyman roster in some instances too. Like Lamont Wade Jr. is a journeyman player who the Giants have given an opportunity to, and maybe he's going to be worth more. I think he's already worth more than a journeyman guy, but they're giving him an opportunity because they saw something in him. But they have journeyman spots on this roster where let's just put some youth in there and let's see what we can do. But I know this, this whole prospect stuff. You want to give these guys reps. You don't want to take them away. You don't, you want Patrick Bailey to be hitting every day. You don't want him to be hitting, 50% of the time. I get that piece of it, but that's what I want to see. That's what would get me to the park and make sure that I'm paying a lot closer attention. I mean, we already pay really close attention, but that would get me excited, I guess, is what was the question. So
yeah, for sure. And I think that's what it would take. I think it's the youth injection. I mean, really, we've been hearing about the minor league system for so many years. And this team made the playoffs a couple of years ago. And then last year, 500. And then this year, below 500. I think people just want to have something. They want to have a future to look for with this team. And I think, that's just unfortunately what it's going to take. And then making the move for Schmidt, bringing him up. That was really the first step. And I think that kind of is showing the fans that, hey, we're not afraid to. If these guys prove themselves in AAA, like Patrick Bailey continues to raise that average up, we're going to see him pretty soon. I would say probably 3 weeks, maybe. There's a good chance 3 to 4 weeks we're going to see Patrick Bailey up. And like you said, it may take an injury to a catcher at some point, but the first injury that happens to any catcher, that is your next guy in line. Ricardo Genovese, I don't think, is on the 40 man. So it's going to have to be, Patrick Bailey coming up, and, excited to see it. Don't want to see it because of an injury. I want to see it because of earning. I want to see Sable become more of a DH outfielder type of guy, because he plays a good outfield. Not great, but he plays a good outfield, and he makes some plays. It's just all of our outfielders have noodle arms. You can't have everything.
Yeah.